The mambo administering the funeral service for Jean-Philippe in the middle of the Marigot graveyard was mid-chant when my phone started to buzz in the pocket of my jeans. I knew who was calling, and I knew I didn't want to answer. His name was Arlen Burkhart, and he was a business partner and friend of my late father. I'd grown up with his son, Jeff, in Newport Beach, California. But when Jeff was murdered, and Arlen's roots in organized crime were exposed, the chummy Snyder-Burkhart family friendship all but died on the vine. Unfortunately, something like a tiny little murder wouldn't stop a guy like Arlen from attempting to foster the world's worst surrogate father-son relationship with me. More to the point, I let Arlen's call go to voicemail. Then I let the next 2 calls also go to my inbox, assuming he'd get the hint. I wasn't stepping away from the funeral service of a man who'd laid down his life to help me, my wife Alicia, my partner DJ, and a handful of other people overthrow a burgeoning voodoo cult intent on taking over St. Martin. However, when it became apparent Arlen hadn't picked up that cue, I stepped away from the funeral service and answered his call. "Listen," Arlen said before I could get a word in, "don't walk back to Waywood too quickly." The hair on the back of my neck stood up, as it had so many times when a loadmaster shouted "line of departure," and I knew I was about to step into thin air. So I had better mind my P's and Q's. In principle, I tried to keep Arlen and his bullshit at arm's length. His past was a lot to excuse, even if he swore he was no longer involved in organized crime and was trying to turn over a new leaf. I'd heard it before. Given where I was, I guess I was feeling sentimental. And he had helped DJ and me thwart the St. Martin cult, so that was something. But it was his tone of voice that really caught my attention. Deadly serious, rather than the usual smug upper-crust timbre. "Why not?" I asked. "There's a possibility that something very unsettling is about to happen," he said, "and I'd like to speak to you on heart and soul about it. If you turn to your left, you may see her about 1.5 miles offshore." I turned and saw his dazzling Amels 180 super yacht, Heart and Soul, gleaming under the Caribbean sun. "Are you watching me?" I asked. "No, not me. Not directly, that is." I wasn't buying it. Arlen's voice took on the same quality as that of a used car salesman hiding an oil leak. "I know it's very rude of me to spy on you," he said, "and we can address that when you come aboard to chat, but believe me when I say there's something I positively need to explain to you in person, and I think you'll be exceedingly thankful I've called you without delay once you've heard what it is." "If it's so urgent, Arlen, why can't you explain it to me now?" "It hasn't happened quite yet," he replied, "and hopefully it won't." Suddenly, about 1/2 mile north of us, on the other side of the bay, an orange fireball rolled upward toward the sky. I gaped as Wayward's mast was engulfed in flame. The blast wave expanded through the misty air, disturbing the surface of the water and jostling the other boats near mine. The phone came away from my ear as my mouth hung open. Somewhere behind me, Alicia gasped. "That's what I was afraid of," I heard Arlen say as I brought the phone back to my ear. "What the hell did you do?" "Now, Jerry, be reasonable," he said. "I didn't do that, but I believe I know who did." His voice was like a gnat buzzing in my ear. What he was saying didn't matter. He could have been belting out the Star-Spangled Banner and I wouldn't have noticed. I was watching Wayward, my catamaran, my baby, going up in a puff of smoke. "Jerry, listen to me. Are you still there?" "Jesus, Arlen, can I get a minute's peace?" "Unfortunately, no, not currently," he said. "You need to get back to the harbor docks. I'm going to send a boat for you, Alicia, DJ, and anyone else among your party who would care to join me on Heart and Soul. And I promise you I will put all possible effort into finding the people responsible for this. I will not let this reprehensible act go unpunished, and I swear to you that, with my help, we will have justice for what was done here today."